Something's happening.
This is an earthquake!
Greatest earthquake ever known!
Did we go back in time?
Yes, and space.
Friends?
Smells good.
You realize what this means?
Yes! Matt Lauer can eat!
It's a walnut.
The movie starts with a man in a spacesuit, lost in a dark, dank, swampy terrain. According to the man, he seems to have fallen into a kind of tear in time and space while entering into the Earth's orbit. He begins to question if he is even on the Earth, as the place looks different with huge tall trees surrounding him. As he keeps walking, he starts hearing some growling sounds out of nowhere. He then begins to panic and starts running through the water and the trees that surround him. After running a little further, he stumbles and falls over with a splash. As he gets up, he sees a dinosaur approaching him and opening its jaws to devour him. Hey guys, welcome to our channel Mystery Recaps. Today, we will recap a 2009 sci-fi adventure movie named Land of the Lost. To know what happens to the man, keep on watching the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Elsewhere, on a TV talk show, a paleontologist named Rick Marshall is being interviewed by the host Matt Lauer. He is trying to promote his new book, in which he proclaims that it is possible for humans to jump across dimensions into other worlds. However, the host is skeptical about his research. He then further angers the paleontologist by saying that according to Stephen Hawking, his theories are nonsense. As a result, Marshall walks off. A few seconds later, he returns to attack Lauer, but gets stopped by a staff member. 3 years later, Marshall is lecturing about his theories in a darkened room. When he turns on the lights, it turns out to be a classroom with small children that begin to mock him. He then dismisses them. Just then, a young woman, Holly Cantrell, enters the room. She is from Cambridge and has come to him because she truly believes in his theories, but he is demotivated. When she presents him with a million-years-old fossil that includes an imprint of his lighter, he gets enthusiastic. Later, Holly arrives in Marshall's place to find him in a state of food coma. She then helps him to get up. Just then, she spots his tachyon amplifier, the device that can transport them to a different dimension. She then persuades Marshall to test the amplifier with her, and the two leave for the desert. They pull over into a shop where they meet its owner, Will Stanton. He tries to sell them various fireworks, but they refuse. Instead, they ask him to take them into a cave. Inside the cave, Stanton is paddling a small boat along a stream. He tries to engage them with his dramatic stories, but they are not interested. As the amplifier picks up signals, the paleontologist is boosting the signal. Just then, an earthquake occurs. The stream becomes strong and the boat gets carried away rapidly, which also causes the amplifier to drop into the water. It quickly carries them and they fall into a sheer drop. They wake up in a vast desert with many moons visible in the sky. They also see a Viking ship with a crash plane into it, which confirms Marshall's theory about time. While filming a video, Marshall gets interrupted by a sound. They then run to the top of a dune, from which they see two ape-like creatures trying to execute another. Stanton then interrupts them by showing them his lighter, and they run away. They then try to communicate with the ape-like creature that was about to be executed. Holly is able to communicate with him and draw out his name, which is Chaka. However, Marshall scares them and he runs off. When they chase him, they fall into a cave through a hole in the desert. Inside the cave, Holly is able to calm Chaka. Then suddenly, several vines suspend them in the air. As they try to free themselves, a T-Rex attacks them. The vines get cut during the attack and they manage to escape. However, the dinosaur follows them as they run. They then cross a narrow bridge. Marshall starts to make fun of its intelligence by saying that its brain is as little as a walnut. The T-Rex then jumps through and continues to chase. They quickly take cover in a cave in which the dinosaur can get in because of its smaller entrance. The dinosaur leaves them. They debate whether Chaka should be allowed to stay in for the night, with Marshall being against it. Chaka was then questioned by Holly on why he was set to be executed. He claims it was as a result of a plot to overthrow him, and they agree to let him stay. The following day, they start starving. While Marshall is busy filming a video, Chaka returns carrying armfuls of a huge fruit. Marshall then cracks one open and finds it full of insects. Suddenly, Marshall starts to feel as if a message is being transmitted right into his brain. He then runs off in the direction of his impulse, with others following him. They arrive at an ancient temple with a massive vibrating crystal in the center of it. Then Stanton and Marshall put their hands on it and start singing. Chaka then interrupts them and tries to alert them about a danger nearby. What do you think Chaka warned them about? Pause the video and let us know in the comments section. A gang of lizard men, known as Sleestaks, appears and surrounds them. Marshall then reflects the light from Holly's spell buckle onto the eyes of some nearby statues. Then a triangular portal opens in the crystal and they enter. When the door shuts, they find themselves on a floating crystal and are joined by one of the beings who is wearing a tunic. He introduces himself as Enoch and admires Marshall's work. He warns them of an exiled Sarn who wants to rule Earth. He suggests that Marshall's amplifier can prevent this. Enoch claims it is nearby, but he must remain in the pylon to protect his crystals. As they set out to find it, Stanton expresses his skepticism about trusting a man. Marshall then drenches himself in dinosaur urine and tries to drink some of it to protect himself. However, it doesn't work. As they reach an area framed with a Golden Gate Bridge, they encounter two larger dinosaurs who attack them and numerous smaller ones who are attacking an ice cream vendor. They then start to run. To avoid being noticed, Marshall pretends to be a statue, which doesn't work. He then finds a canister of liquid nitrogen, which they propel down into the throat of the Allosaurus using an ancient catapult. When it explodes, the amplifier is revealed from inside its stomach. Before they can recover it, a pteranodon snatches it and runs away. Marshall gets close to giving up, and it makes his friends frustrated. After a while, he comes back to their campfire with a banjo and starts singing. Just then, a mosquito-like insect appears on his shoulder and starts sucking his blood. Marshall grows wary and gray. He immediately falls to his back and crushes the now large bloody insect. The next day, after climbing up a volcano, they find a nest of pteranodon eggs blocking their path to the amplifier. Stanton and Chaka act reluctantly, so Marshall goes through the eggs to get to the amplifier. When he lifts up the amplifier, the music stops and the eggs start to hatch. Chaka and the others join Marshall in starting to sing as he moves backward. After they succeed, they start celebrating. They set up camp in a rundown motel and start partying around the pool. Holly then leaves to use the amplifier to scout the area. A giant crab approaches them, which gets sucked into the ground and gets expelled quickly in bits and fully cooked. They then eat the giant crab claws. Holly encounters Sarn in a crystal field glade nearby. He tells her that Enoch is the one they should be afraid of, because it is he who has plans to command an army of Sleestak to conquer Earth. Suddenly, a flash of light from Enoch strikes Sarn, and Holly gets captured. When the three others learn of Holly's abduction, they start looking for her. Inside a cave, Stanton and Marshall find two lizards shedding their skins. The men then put these on and head to rescue Holly, where they come out as themselves. When they get to the place where Holly is about to be executed, they reveal themselves. They are sentenced to death for attempting to assist Enoch, who was apparently banished and made to wear the tunic as a punishment. Marshall is able to free Holly from a cage over a blazing pit after a struggle. Marshall and Holly then share a passionate kiss. Enoch interrupts them and refocuses T-Rex's attention to Marshall. He then decides to fight T-Rex, so he drives Holly away. With Stanton reluctant to help, Marshall grabs the stick and uses it to pole vault himself towards the dinosaur, but lands straight down its throat. What do you think will happen to Marshall now that he's inside the T-Rex stomach? Let's watch ahead. Make sure to hit that like button if you are enjoying the video. As Holly, Stanton, and Chaka begin an unsuccessful fight back against the Sleestak, Marshall returns riding the T-Rex. It turns out that Marshall was expelled out of the T-Rex. With the T-Rex on their side, they easily win the fight. They then head into the pylon to confront Enoch. A fight breaks out, which causes a crystal to knock onto the ground and break into pieces. This causes the portal to Earth to flicker. Marshall then grabs Holly's necklace crystal and is used to replace the one which was lost. While Marshall and Holly head for the portal, Stanton declares his intention to stay. Stanton and Chaka arrive at Chaka's settlement, and Stanton is quickly surrounded by a group of the stunning females who check him with intrigue. This makes Stanton happy with his decision. Meanwhile, Marshall returns to the same TV show once again to celebrate his success and unveil his new book titled Matt Lauer Can't Suck It. Matt Lauer loses his cool and attempts to wrestle with Marshall. The movie ends with the abandoned dinosaur egg shaking and ready to hatch. Would you like to know how a government tries to establish a new order in the country? Check out this video on the screen. Also, hit that subscribe button and bell icon to never miss any exciting movie recaps.